So welcome, however you got here, which might be through my blog, which is Ectopsyche, or you might have come here through Song of Solomon, which is another one of my blogs. Essentially, this is an introduction video to tell you a little bit about myself and about my writing and about my work. I guess 7 or 8 years ago I was introduced to a concept or a practice called chaos magic, and I explored that for quite some time, and now I don't really refer to myself as practicing chaos. Sometimes I'll call myself a chaot or something, just almost as a virtual signalling tool, but really I just prefer to be a bit more fluid, which chaos magic allows you to be anyway, or encourages you to be anyway, and so I tend not to label myself as such. Having said that, on the blog you will see or read and hear from me talk a little bit about chaos magic and how that works when looking at different pathways, what I call mirror pathways. Chaos really did inform the way I go about doing things, in the sense that it provided me with a bit of an anchor to come back to after I'd explored a particular path. I won't really be talking so much about sigil magic, even though that's quite a large part of chaos magic. A lot of people talk about sigil magic. I moved away from sigil magic a while ago. There's some great videos out there that can show you how to do that sort of work. What I actually do now is epistemic writing or trance state writing, so trance state writing or drawing. And so this is where rather than consciously writing out my will or my intent, I actually sense or feel my will or intent and then enter purposely into a trance state, and then the work that I do from that, which is my epistemic writing, essentially becomes, I guess, my sigil. It wouldn't be called that, I suppose, but loosely it's my sigil. So my blog, which is where this video and my other videos will be hosted, is Ectopsyche, and that term is a Jungian term. And by Jungian I mean it's part of a much bigger picture, obviously, of Jungian work. Ectopsyche essentially, though, is refers to the outer layer of consciousness, and it's anchored or oriented by 4 key features, that being thinking, sensation, feeling and intuition. So they're the 4 oriented points within what Ectopsyche, within the principles of Ectopsyche and how that works. So that's where the blog name came from, and I'll put a link to that in the description in case you come here via YouTube. The other website that I was making mention of is Song of Solomon, so that's my exploration down ancient Persian, Middle Eastern or Western Asian paths. So looking at precursors even to Zoroastrianism, looking at origins of duality, origins of concepts of God, so something beyond ourselves. Where did that thinking start? How did that start, and what did it look like? But my blog Song of Solomon is much more slow moving. I work with some close friends and close relatives around the world who are much more knowledgeable in that area, and then I take their advice and put it into practice, and then I blog about how that works for me. So I think that's a bit of an introduction as to why I'm videoing and why I'm blogging. I suppose I was raised religious, spent a very long time religious, and was sent to witness to a group called Pagans at the Pub. This is going back 20 years ago now, 20-something years ago. And so the idea was for me to go along and to witness to a group of pagans. There were, a mixed group of people. I mostly remember the Druids. They were kind of my favourite, just because they were kind of funny and quirky. And I wonder in hindsight now whether there were, people that were into chaos magic at the time, and I just didn't realise it. There were Wiccans, there were sort of people that followed Golden Dawn. There were a whole variety of people there. And I went along for 2 years of my life, and would just sit and talk about, would witness to them from my very narrow perception at the time, which, like I said, was religious. And then over time I came to realise that, hey, these people aren't that bad, and so I actually started to pick up books, and I started to read a little bit more about what they were talking about, and from there it's led me to where I am. I wouldn't describe myself as religious anymore, although I still refer very often to the Torah, the Tanakh, I don't really read King James version of the Bible. I don't sort of think that that's just so... this is the stuff that gets me banned when I say this sort of stuff. King James version of the Bible, it's just so watered down, and it's so set in particular socio-political, geographic situations that, I just don't think it's an authentic text in that sense. So I tend not to really read much of the Bible. I do read still from there's a book called I think it's called The Complete Jewish Bible, which I quite like. So written with quite a bit of use of Hebrew language. So there's quite a bit of reference to those old Hebrew names for places and for people and for God and for ideas. So I use that, but like I said, I use that in a magical sense. So I use it to further alter or further challenge or change my perception of the world and how I see the world operates. You have to excuse me, there's flies everywhere. It's hot in the middle of summer here in Australia, and it's not going to leave me alone. So I do still have an affiliation to religions. I'm very cautious just because I don't want all my channels to get reported again. There's a few different variations or a few different types of or interpretations of Quran. So I read the one that I feel is probably closest to origins. Apart from that, won't say too much more about myself, except that I hope you have a look around my blog, and I'll just be doing some YouTube updates or video updates about topics that I'm writing about actually at the time.